for the serious gamer.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rurikhan's Raging Reviews. So today we're going to be reviewing Uncharted 2 Among Thieves for the PlayStation 3. Now this game is a PlayStation 3 exclusive and it actually came bundled with my PlayStation. When I wanted to buy a PlayStation 3 there were a lot of PlayStation bundles, but all of them had games that I wasn't really very interested in. So I came upon this particular bundle, which featured Uncharted 2 and MotorStorm Pacific Rift. Now, I had already played MotorStorm, so I knew I would enjoy it, but Uncharted 2 was like this big unknown for me, but it sounded a lot better than any of the other games that were on the other bundles. So basically I picked it up, and that's how I came to know Uncharted 2. And since then, the Naughty Dog team, which are the developers of Uncharted 2, they've really gained my respect, because I'm going to tell you right now, Uncharted 2 is one hell of a game. So I came into this completely not knowing what Uncharted 2 is all about, and now I'm going to give you the basics, but I'm not really going to delve into the story that much, because I feel that a great deal of this game is the story, and I really don't want to spoil it for anyone. Basically, let's just put it like this. You're playing a character that really looks like Indiana Jones in the stuff that he makes and the stuff that happens throughout the game. And that's all you're going to get from me about the story. Now, during this game, you're going to have a lot of epic moments. Like right now, you just shot a helicopter down with a machine gun turret. And basically, there's a lot of stuff like this going out throughout the game. Now, on this particular scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the game, your main character, I haven't said his name yet, his name is Nathan Drake. Your main character is going to be jumping from truck to truck while shooting enemies that are on other trucks so that he can jump on them, because the trucks are going to just keep exploding one after the other, and you're just forced to jump from truck to truck. And it really feels like this cinematic experience that you're going to get during this mission, and that's what you get throughout the whole game. In fact, it has so much of a cinematic aspect to it that sometimes you're watching a cinematic and all of a sudden it turns into gameplay and you barely even notice the transition and you're left like, holy crap, I'm supposed to be playing right now. And I think that's just amazing that a game can do that to you. I mean, it just shows you how fluid the whole game is when they go from cinematics to gameplay, and all the cinematics are made featuring the powerful in-game engine. And this engine is powerful. It has a physics engine, it has awesome graphics. In fact, it's sporting one of the best graphics I've seen so far in the PlayStation. And amazingly enough, it is able to do so at 60 frames per second. And I didn't really notice any slowdowns on my PlayStation, even during the most demanding scenes, which is a really good thing. Now, basically the game plays like a third-person shooter. But like I said, it's a third-person shooter with a lot of cinematic elements to it. Everything that happens on screen, you'll notice that it's almost like you're playing the role in a movie. And that also means the game is a bit linear. However, in this case, being linear is a very good thing, because it really allows the developers to drive you through the experience and make sure you have the most fun possible. Like right now, as you can see, he's jumping from trucks to trucks, and trust me, you have to actually play this scene to understand how much fun it is. And now notice the transition from gameplay to cinematic and back to gameplay. I mean, it's just amazing. You barely even noticed that the cinematic happened right there. And now look at the awesome physics engine in here. You're blowing up trucks and they're completely realistic in the way that they're behaving. Except for this big one. This big one is a bit unrealistic, but the small ones, the motion of the small ones is just so incredibly realistic that it just makes you feel really immersed into this game. Now, besides from shooting stuff all the time and getting shot at, you also have some puzzling and some platforming elements in this game. And on top of all that, the story also has these humoristic moments like the one you're going to see right now. Like, for instance, just watch this scene for a few seconds here. It's really fun.
You bastards! We got you now! Oh, crap!
I mean, it's just amazing. The guy goes like, "That's right, you bastards, we got you." Oh no! And rocket launcher to the face. Obviously, he survives. I mean, we can't have our main character die in a cinematic, at least before the ending of the game. Now, can we? Now, the cinematic experience of this game is just completely off the charts. The voice acting is completely superb. I mean, I didn't find any flaws in I didn't find any flaws in the voice acting throughout my whole playthrough. It was just stellar voice acting, back to stellar voice acting. And then there's also the melee fights. Now, this is actually gameplay footage. I am actually playing at this point, and the melee parts of the game where you're fighting, they're also very cinematic. And I'm going to show you a few more of those up ahead. I just wanted to also show you this scene, which is, like I said, very cinematic, very epic. Look at this. The guy is running and suddenly there's a truck running behind you, and you're going to be running and gunning with the truck coming towards you, and you don't really know what's ahead of him. It's just this feeling of adrenaline rushing against you, and you're like, holy hell, am I going to make it out of here? You don't really know what's going to happen, but I mean, this is what I mean by linear but awesome, because it practically will always happen like that unless you're like not pressing forward to run. But you have no idea, and the first time you go through it, it's just amazing. Now, throughout the whole scenes I've been showing you, you saw mostly Nathan Drake accompanied in cinematic experiences and alone during the gameplay. However, it's not always like that. A great deal of the game, Nathan Drake actually has companions with him, like this girl to the left, which is Chloe, and the girl to the right, which is Elena Fisher. He also plays a lot of levels with each of them, and in this particular section, you're actually playing with both of them as your partners. Like, that's Elena Fisher to the right, and that's Chloe to the left. And they're both shooting at the same targets you are, and they're like basically the basic AI companion that you get when you're playing a game that has AI companions. And it really makes you it's really fun to have like this teammate to go with you through the levels, because there are some puzzle parts that actually demand that you use them in a way to boost you up towards a higher ground, or you boost them up towards a higher ground, and then they'll push boxes so that you can reach the higher ground as well. And there's just a lot of really good puzzling elements, like this one. You're boosting Chloe up the ladder, and now Chloe is going to go upstairs. She's going to be dropping that box downstairs so that you can jump on top of it and thus reach the higher ground yourself. And besides these puzzles, there are also a lot of other puzzles that you're going to have to figure out for yourself. Like this one, where there's a car there, you shoot it, the car goes down to the barricade over there, and then you're able to jump to the other side. And there's also a lot of puzzles, but the puzzles aren't really like completely amazingly hard. They're just a bit of speed bumps, so that it's not just action, action, action all the time. You get to feel relaxed every now and then. And besides the single player, which I've been dabbling on about non-stop, there's also an amazing multiplayer to this game. I mean, most games like this just tackle on a deathmatch-like multiplayer and boom, we're done. Well, not for Uncharted 2. Now, Uncharted 2 has a fully featured multiplayer mode, in fact, several modes of capture the flag, capture treasures, death matches, and a lot of other objective-based games. And the thing about it is, everything you do in the single player, you do on the multiplayer as well, like the hanging from ledges, the climbing stuff, and everything you do in game, you do here as well, except for the cinematic melee. You can't really add cinematic melee to a multiplayer game, it wouldn't make much sense. But the melee is still handled pretty decently. And yeah, the multiplayer is really a high point to this game. I can't stress that enough, because a lot of other games have done this kind of game before, and the multiplayer was just tacked on at the end, just a piece of crap. And this one is really, really amazing. You definitely will not regret going multiplayer on this one. Now, as I'm reaching the end of my review, I usually tell my viewers if this game is worth the purchase or not, and at this point in time, I have to say that the game is definitely worth its price, because it's an amazing game. It has an amazing single-player campaign, and it has an even more amazing multiplayer mode that even now I find myself coming back to it time and time and again. And it's not just competitive either. There's also cooperative multiplayer modes, which is almost like a side story to the campaign. And besides that, there's also like a horde mode, like the Gears of War horde mode, where you're fighting off against waves and waves of monsters. There's also one mode like that, and it's just amazing, and tons of hours of fun are going to be had in this game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys on my next video.